Well, there are interesting people anywhere and everywhere. And if you don't think so, maybe you're not interesting. There's fascinating details about every person you meet. But I believe that there are more interesting people per capita in the United Kingdom than almost anywhere else. In fact, I think despite its woke culture, it still values individuals who have idiosyncrasies, who are clever in certain ways. I feel that whenever I go to that country. And one of the most interesting people in the United Kingdom, in my opinion, is a man named Laurence Fox. He's an actor. In fact, he recently played Hunter Biden in Fela McAleer's movie, My Son Hunter. He's the leader of a political party called the Reclaim Party. He's a journalist. He's a commentator on GB News. I don't know how he has time to do it all. And now he is running in the by-election to succeed Boris Johnson, the former prime minister, in the district of Uxbridge. What a pleasure to catch up with Laurence Fox. Laurence, great to see you again. I hope you don't mind my flattery. I don't know even if it is flattery. I think there are more colorful characters in the UK than other places because you're still allowed to be a colorful character in the UK. Am I wrong on that?
Just about, yeah. Just about, Ezra. As you saw yesterday with the way that our wonderful, beautiful flag, which both of my grandfathers were wounded fighting for, is being replaced all the way down the main shopping street in London with this vile progressive migraine flag. And the Union Jack was cast to the ground. So I've got a feeling we're under occupation, actually, in the UK. I'm not sure you are able to be yourself, as much as we were in the past.
I want to show that video you're talking about. Pride Month, or as Justin Trudeau says in Canada, Pride Season. So I guess we've got 3 months of it here. In London, it really is rampant. I want to show a video that speaks for itself. Here, take a look at this. This is what you were referring to about flags coming down. Take a look.
You're taking the wrong fucking flag down, mate.
What, you think I don't know that? We know that.
At least you know that.
100%.
You know what's sort of heartbreaking about that video, Laurence, is that the working class blokes who are taking down the Union Jack, they know what they're doing is wrong. They know it offends them. They say, yeah, we're taking the wrong one down. By the way, they drop it on the ground, which I think is a shame. But they do it anyways. And I saw some commentary on Twitter, people saying, well, listen, they got to pay the bills. They got to raise their family. They don't want to get fired. I don't know. I think there's something deeply depressing about people who say, yes, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I will take down the flag of my own country and drop it in the dirt because the high-ups told me to. I think that was a very sad scene there.
It was a tragic scene, and it's this amazing thing about the progressive woke movement and the child mutilation, child sacrifice movement is it hides behind homosexuality. So essentially, if you criticize it and you've got a problem with child mutilation and transgenderism in general, which is in my view satanic, the minute you criticize it, you're called a homophobe, which you're not, because most people in Britain are hugely tolerant and supportive of gay and lesbian rights, hard fought for over the years. But we've seen over the last 3 years, over lockdowns and over mandatory vaccines and various things, that there is an overwhelming cowardice within the population, and people are terrified of the repercussions of standing up and saying no. So what we're witnessing here with the flying of this grotesque artifice, political artifice of a flag, which is spreading around the West, is a sin of omission rather than a sin of commission. And, anyone, in my view, anyone who walks under it and who doesn't do anything they can to remove it is complicit in it, really. And I know that puts people in a very difficult position. But if we don't draw the line somewhere and say, look, this is not a flag men and women have served under. This is not a flag that men and women have died for. This flag is a political artifice to bring in a sort of centralized secular set of values that actually, not only do I not agree with them, I stand wholeheartedly against every single thing that vile, disgusting flag stands for. The division of people down the lines of sexuality and race, among many, many other things. It's the most regressive, horrible thing done in the name of kindness and inclusion.
The flag the meaning of that flag, especially the transgenderism flag, is not, do you tolerate other people? It's, are you in sync with our agenda, including, as you say, the mutilation of children? And it's like, salute the flag or be fired. They recently sacked a Major League ball player here in Toronto because he dared say he wasn't with the program. They humiliated him and then they sacked him. I don't know, how do you think this will register in an election? You're running in the by-election to succeed Boris Johnson. Are people talking about this? It seems to me this is one of those issues that sometimes called the undernews. Mickey Kaus calls it the undernews. Lots of people are talking about it around the water cooler, around the coffee machine, but they don't talk about it in noisily because they'll get in trouble. It's not reported maybe in the pages of the newspaper, but people talk about it one-on-one when they feel safe. Is this issue going to move the needle at all in your by-election in Uxbridge?
Well, listen, there's going to the Conservatives and Labour, as across the world, Conservative parties and more liberal left-leaning parties are the same thing nowadays. They're exactly the same thing. They push the same agenda, be it over the climate, be it over immigration, and be it over this child sacrifice. So I don't care about anything other than to offer voters, as one always should, an alternative. So, I think they're not, these things haven't maybe yet bubbled to the surface, but any conservative-minded person who wishes to hold on to their culture and protect the value of their culture, certainly their own flag, without, we're shamed in this country for supporting the Union Jack, and yet they fly this migraine flag everywhere. And as you say, if you don't worship at the altar of it, you're cancelled, removed, othered, and labelled a variety of things. I want to say the quiet part out loud in this by-election, which is to turn around and say we have an uncontrolled immigration problem in our country. We had over 700,000 migrants into this country. We've had yesterday, we had in France last week, we had an attack on children in a playground by a mentally ill migrant. We've just had a mentally ill migrant murder innocent young students and people at a bus stop in Nottingham in the United Kingdom yesterday. We do not take our immigration problem in this country seriously. And the Conservative government, who promised in their 2019 manifesto that they would reduce immigration to the tens of thousands, have just overseen the biggest year of immigration in British history. So I am sorry. That is a big issue for the people of this country. The newspapers may not wish to talk about it and the Conservatives may not wish to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm also going to talk about the fact that this climate scam, which is being foisted on us day in, day out, all of the parties have this embedded into their manifestos, that we're heading towards 5 minutes to midnight before the planet is somehow subsumed by the giant sun monster. It's absolute rubbish. It's a crime against our children. Our children are terrified about their futures, and they feel that there is no future to live for, hence why breeding rates across the West are plummeting. We've got to have a look at our culture, our language. We must not divide down the lines of race and sexuality and create these false grievance hierarchies. And these are the things that I want to talk about. And I will take them to the electorate, and I will ask the Conservative, people who would vote Conservative, who are going to stay at home because they are so sick and tired of the Conservatives. I'm going to say to them, lend me your vote, and I will stand up for the values that you stand up for and want to protect.
Yeah, so by-elections... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm essentially just saying I'm a Conservative. There aren't any Conservatives, so I'll be one.
You know, one of the exciting things about by-elections is that voters know that they can do something more dramatic without changing the entire government. I mean, sometimes during a vote, people vote strategically. They say, well, he's the lesser of two evils, and I don't want to spend my vote on the Reclaim Party because maybe Labour will beat the Conservatives. But in a by-election, you're not going to alter the math in Parliament, so maybe you'll have some luck. What's the date of the by-election in Uxbridge?
Well, they haven't moved the writ yet. So there's, all these lovely old British parliamentary traditions. You've got to move the writ. You've then got to announce the by-election. It has to happen within a certain number of days. So it looks like the by-election will happen either on the 20th or the 27th of July. Where are we now? July. But if it doesn't, it'll be September. But I imagine they'll want to get the bad news out of the way before the summer so they can come back regrouped to lie to the people again. Time and again, which is what's been happening for years now.
That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism at rebelnewsplus.com.